Many people try to get their bang for their buck with their game purchases, and value is something that's been talked about more and more often in gaming these days. It's kind of an interesting conversation. A lot of people see 8-hour games, that 8-hour single player games is not worth it, while other people think that multiplayer games without a single player component are not worth it also. A lot of this conversation has been going around with conversations over Overwatch, being that it's a $60 to $40 game that is a multiplayer only game that only has about 3 different game modes and stuff like that. But the thing is that people value different things differently, you know? Some people just want a lot of gameplay for their buck. Then again, you know, if from what I've seen, a lot of people do play a lot of Gary's Mod and Counter-Strike Go, and they do get their bang for their buck. They get a lot of gameplay for a lot, very cheap with these multiplayer-centric shooters and stuff like that. But the thing is that value is a weird proposition when you're talking about games in itself, because to me, I mean, I value a really good, solid 8-hour experience over kind of janky, unbalanced 16-hour experience with a tax on multiplayer that doesn't really do anything interesting. I mean, yeah, Doom had a multiplayer that I wasn't really interested in, but hey, the single player is great, and there's, you know, mods kinda on console, map maker thing. But hey, I don't really know where this conversation is going. The value is something that a lot of people are trying to get more of. You see this with people trying to get games for cheaper than, and it's really hard these days to figure out if that game that you're seeing is something that you like, something you want, since, you know, demos aren't really a thing anymore. The only way you would be able to figure out is do your research, you know, you look at reviews, find a reviewer that you trust, or even rent the game, or borrow it from a friend, or buy it. See, the thing is that it's a little bit more difficult because games are pretty expensive, but then again, they've always been expensive. They've been more expensive in the past, and I think that the thing is that there's more games out there, and we have more disposable income today than we had in the past, so that's why it seems like more games in the past were better, is because you only bought the good games, and, you know, a lot of times only good games would be made because that's how the industry worked. Now there's more games, more people making games, therefore there's a higher range of different ideas that kind of mesh in weird and different ways, but hey, you know, but that's what's great about the gaming industry. It's just all these ideas hodgepodge together, and, you know, value is something that, you know, different people see differently. I do value, you know, the $20 walking simulator that lasts about 4 or 5 hours if they tell me a really good, interesting story. Other people, not so much. I mean, they want more gameplay. They want something that is fun. I see it as, you know, tell me a good story. I go watch a movie, and you spend like $14-$20 on a movie. People don't typically go to a movie and they come out of the movie and be like, oh, that movie was only 90 minutes. I wish it was 3 hours, and then so I could get more bang for my buck. No, people don't do that. They just want to see a good movie. If the movie's too long, they criticize it for that. If the movie's too short, if it feels too short, like it's missing something, then they'll criticize it for that. But the thing is that it's really weird that how like gaming is like that. It's like, oh, this game is only immediately when they find out that a game is only 8 hours or 2 hours or whatever, it's a more focused experience, then they completely write it off when there's so many games out there that do not have any focus, that are like these large expansive games that mean nothing. They're like, they had no business being an open world or being that long for that matter. And I feel that people are starting to realize that with like open world games that have been coming out. You know, we had Homefront: The Revolution that, you know, didn't really need to be a open world game. It could have been interesting, but you know, they didn't really capitalize on those ideas. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which was, I was kind of excited until, you know, it came out and it turned out it was an open world game, and I was like, why would you do that? That you're compromising on really well structured and tightly choreographed sequences for open-endedness. What open world does is that it gives the player opportunities to do whatever they want, you know? And that's not really what you kind of want in a Mirror's Edge game, where you want really tight parkour action, really well designed action. But I don't know. If people like it, it just recently came out yesterday as of this recording, and I really, really hope that this glut of especially Ubisoft open world games that have no business being open world games are going to be solved, you know? I mean, I was kind of excited when a new Ghost Recon game got announced, but then again, that open world announcement is saying, hey, this is an open world game, you're going to get your bang for your buck, you're going to get a lot of gameplay out of this. And no, that's not what we want. That's not, you want a good game. And we see this a lot like last year, even with the Metal Gear Solid 5. It became an open world game, and what happened? I mean, the gameplay was amazing, but the open-ended world was empty, and the levels were weird mishmash of like nothingness, repetitive stupidness, and people gave it 10 out of 10 because I don't know, I didn't like that game as much as everybody else did, but I feel like value is a tricky proposition. Everybody values things differently, and if you value something a certain way and somebody else doesn't, well, you know, you gotta respect that other person. They find a lot of enjoyment out of that 2-hour, 5-hour experience that is, if it's really well written, you know, they enjoy it. And I feel that I remember when I was younger, like a lot of games being shorter experiences that I would replay over and over again because those experiences were really well designed, and they allowed for different modes of play, or they had really interesting sequences that I would like to play over and over again. I just feel that I don't know, this people get their heads in their butts and talk about, oh, this game's not worth it. I mean, of course, there is now things like Steam and, you know, GameStop or used games. You could get pretty much any game at any price if you wait long enough. So, I mean, eventually that game should hit that mark of value, but still people don't, you know, pick up the game and buy it. But then again, you know, what do I know? I'm just a sponge. I'm sorry for this rant. Yeah, this is just me. I've been writing the script for the next review, and I've been kind of slacking on it. I don't know. I've been trying to work really hard on it, but I've been hitting this writer's block. But it's coming. It's coming. It's actually, I'm almost done writing the script, and the editing you might see it next week. But I hope you like this video, and yeah, bye.